Today we'll spend an hour of discussing if classifieds are social and are people more willing to buy and sell within their network. So, what we have here are three experts from social media and from classifieds, and let's hear what they have to say about utilizing social media with classifieds and with what kind of results. And after that, we'll have somewhat 15-20 minutes for open discussions and for your questions. So get your pens ready and be ready to pick their brain. Peter, let's start with you.
Thank you, Tiia, and good morning. I'm going to give you a very high overview, very, very brief. My timer's set on 7 minutes. I'll go over by about 30 seconds, but they're going to throw rocks at me if I go long. Who's using social media and how? And now we're even talking about social commerce as opposed to social media. A very, very brief look at some examples in each vertical. Cars, homes, jobs, and stuff. An in-depth review of what Used Everywhere is doing. And the most important part, of course, is what should you be doing to get involved, get engaged. Some of this will be obvious to you. Some of this you're going to say, oh, we're doing that already. I hope at least one or two tips, one or two ideas are surprises to you. Wrong button. Here's the original social media in classifieds. We've all used it, or probably we've all used it. eBay feedback. They started doing this at the beginning, and this is actually what made eBay having feedback. This is a seller sold me something. She had a feedback score of 2253. It made me comfortable buying from her, even though I had no idea where she was, what she was doing, or anything like that. That was the original social media you could give feedback. Now, sites even let their users review advertisers. Gives people a lot of pain, makes people very anxious, but they let them review advertisers. This is my Hyundai dealer. They've got 5-star ratings. I would happen to agree with that, in fact, on Cars.com. Media are using Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course Google, Google+. How many of you are using social media to engage with your users? Nobody? Oh, come on. I should see like 98% of the hands in the room. Everybody should be using. But here's the bigger question. How many of you are using social media in a separate channel to engage with your advertisers? 3 or 4 hands. That's the key takeaway here. You can have a separate channel to use with your advertisers. Here are a few very quick examples of social media in classifieds. Cars, we saw Holler Hyundai. Auto Trader boosted search on Facebook pages. Now more than 5% of their traffic comes from Facebook, and they've gone one step further. They recognize consumers rely on their family and friends for advice on many things, so they give dealers the opportunity to reach through Facebook. You could now search through Facebook, never leave Facebook, and still get your results from Autotrader.com. That's the Autotrader.com in the U.S. Different things in the U.K. and so forth. Homes, real estate, properties. Here's Sign On San Diego. Their back end is a DCO. Live mortgage calculator, email friends, save ad, the usual kind of tools. But a couple extras. Here's a listing. We've got tweet and like. So you can tweet an ad directly out. You can like an ad on Facebook, on Twitter. They also have sign in for new users, sign up, mobile version, of course, the usual. Here's one more thing they do, though. In the very bottom right-hand corner of the page, real estate tweets. They've got real estate tweets from anybody in the real estate business. And, oh, by the way, there's a sponsorship from Prudential Realty in California. Jobs. How many of you are job boards exclusively, or how many of you are job boards? Okay, in the U.S., the Department of Labor is now using Facebook as a social media engagement tool to try to end the recession and the unemployment problem. Big issue. The biggest issue for advertising media, however, is that they're talking about allowing advertisers to post free job listings on Facebook through the Department of Labor. Needless to say, if you're a paid site, that's a bit of a concern. This article was 7 reasons why recruiters like Facebook more than LinkedIn. Notice they don't say anything about the New York Times or about Quokka or about anything. It's Facebook versus LinkedIn. I got a Twitter feed from somebody who sent me through my LinkedIn page collecting resumes for someone looking to hire journalists, and it came to me automatically. Here's another one, again powered by Adicio, the San Diego Union Tribune. Instead of setting up a separate login, you can log in with Facebook. All of these tools, by the way, require time, they require energy, no cash. Not a dollar, not a penny, just time and energy. The Washington Post gets job ads, they tweet them out. They tweet out all job listings. This is 18 months ago. We wrote about it in Classified Intelligence Report. They are still tweeting the jobs, and they say they have great success with it. Last category I'm going to give you a quick overview on, the stuff category. eBay has integrated Facebook into eBay's shopping platforms. Brand new, done last week, 2 weeks ago. Oodle, how many of you are on Facebook and get the Oodle Marketplace emails? This is what I get. I get emails with stuff being offered by friends of friends, people in my neighborhood, and they email these to me without any further ado once a week. This is pet ads. Pet ads, big thing. Everybody loves pets. What can we do with the pet ads? These are from Sign On San Diego Ad Pay. You can put them on Facebook. You can bookmark them. You can share them, and of course, email them. Simple, basic stuff. Most of you are probably, I hope, doing most of these things, but obviously, you can't be doing all of them, or you should be doing all of them. The main thing is you have to create channels. I've actually got 25 seconds left. I'm going to show you one more site briefly. Oh, Gumtree. They launched a daily deal service, and what do? They're using a group of volunteer bloggers to push it. Volunteer bloggers on Gumtree, eBay's site. Last but not least, used everywhere. And if you look in the lower right-hand corner, you will see on Facebook 18,000 others like this, including Sharon Hill, who works with me, Katja Riefler. Katja's over there. And now I'm going to let Tish and Jody tell you about what they're doing.
Tish and I are going to do a bit of a dog and pony show. So our mission in life has been to try and figure out where these people are coming from, what they're doing, and how we can interact with them more. The question being is, are online classifieds social? Well, we believe they are. This is the history of where we were. This is how we were playing the game back about 3 years ago, where content is king. Everything we were doing is trying to build this great database, and everything we did was just to feed more inventory, more products, more services into the database. We promoted the database through Google Ads and all the various things that people are doing. We had a good quality control team that was managing the quality of the products, keeping spam and scams and those kind of things, standard things. And then we're monetizing the database. We were strictly focused on impressions, display ads, banner ads, upgraded ads, and affiliate marketing. So what were we going to do from here? This was great 3 years ago. It got us out of the hole. But the problem was that we were an individual entity. We didn't have a lot of sharing going on. We didn't have a lot of exchanging of information, allowing people to talk with us, communicate with us. We didn't know what they wanted. We just told them what we thought they wanted. What they had is there was groups, individual groups, online and offline. They were 4x4 clubs. They were power moms and group moms and soccer moms. They were chatting back and forth, and they were chatting back and forth online and offline through their networks, through blogs, through Twitter, those kind of things. They were communicating, and then they were coming to our site. So what else are they doing? Where are they? And the next thing we looked at was, how are they coming to our site? And how many people were coming to our site from various different places? Obviously, our number one source of traffic was search, just like most other people and most other sites. But we're getting all this referral from all these different people, but there's no central location. There's no particular group. How do you reach out to a 4x4 club or a power mom or Super Shoppers or the Cubs or the Girl Scouts, those kind of things. So what we tried to do is we looked at this and said, what are we going to do now? Facebook came along. What this has done is this has created an opportunity for these groups to start coming to one place at the same time. They still have their offline meetings and gatherings and all that kind of stuff. Now they've come together in one place, and they've started to realize that the same group that likes 4x4s and auto parts also has kids and Girl Guides and kids and Scouts. And what they do is now they're chatting back and forth on this central platform. But we still weren't talking to them.
Hello, hi. I think I should say something. You're doing such a great job. I think part of what we're trying to display with these images of us, this was us sitting over here. We were very busy trying to, keep spam down, find more content, look at those banner ads, look at those CPMs and whatnot, and we were not paying attention to the user at all. The first slide that Jody showed about the database, it was I call it the big database, is that we were just focused on that content and we weren't even thinking about the user. And in this case, there's all kinds of things happening with the user. They're moving onto Facebook, but not. We're still clued out over here. We're still focused on our business and whatnot. And I think that's really important as we move to the next slide, because that reflects our big change in our thinking.
This here is also very focused on what the first presenter talked about, is the upper level management, the CEOs, were all monetization, monetization, monetization. All they wanted us to do was make money, find more revenue sources and that kind of thing. So that was our sole focus. But these people here, what's going on over here? That's the big social question. So the difference from 2007 to 2011 is 113% increase. And what that showed was that the increase was not necessarily from all traffic sources, but that increase was directly related to Facebook.
And it was free. It was free. We were still focused on how could we spend more money on Google AdWords to drive more traffic, to bring more users to our websites. But here were all these referrals coming for free. And we were like, hey, wow, maybe we should pay attention to this. Maybe we should figure out why this is happening. And so that was a part of our changing in our focus.
What we did is we created a pathway to exchange information back and forth most smoothly. We hired staff, full-time bloggers, a full-time social media expert to create this pathway. We offered sharing, we offered all the standard things, but we actually implemented a Facebook widget on the site. So every single page of our site has a Facebook widget that actually has your fans or friends of you showing up who like our site. This creates a communication back and forth. There's actually a streaming information of the posting from Facebook, so it allows them constant interaction and they can easily flow back and forth. And that has been our goal for the last 6 months to a year, was to continue to build this transition of communication. And as you can see, the trend has grown quite nicely from March of 2010 up to October 2011. And this is our interactions and this is our communication. So we've got our blog, which has shown some good peaks and valleys. We've got Twitter and other links. So we've been communicating with the groups, we've been communicating with the different channels, but Facebook has clearly shown that our goal of trying to create this interaction, this smooth transition back and forth, is evident through this graph.
Okay, there's a beeper going off. Is that you? You're beeping. We're going to explode.
We're getting gonged by Peter.
Yeah, Peter's cutting us off. One of the things that I think is really important to mention here is that our philosophy is to create engagement and start listening to our user base, and it happens to be that de jure Facebook is one of the number one things, but we have a 1-800 number. We have our moderation team is emailing our customer base, our user base all the time, and our philosophy is that we're not going to be just dependent on Facebook, because next year it might be something else, but it's more the philosophy to continue creating these avenues of engagement with our user base so we can start to listen and whatnot. This is all information that we've heard so far from many of the presenters today and topics we've talked about. Now, from here on in, it starts to get interesting. And so with that, yes, good story. We hooked up all the social media. It's growing. It's very nice. Now what?
We went into a new market for us. We had a small penetration in Saskatoon, which is a small city, if you're not familiar with the prairies of Canada, which you can see for miles because it's totally flat. We have a good market penetration in one city. In the city next door, one of the major competitors who's spending all the money on Google and all the money on search is the incumbent in that market. The first thing we did is we took the similar Google approach and advertised like crazy. But what we did is on the other side is we took the social approach, and not the traditional Facebook, Twitter, those kind of things, the old school approach. We sent a whole group of our team into this Saskatoon area with iPhones and iPads, and they went around to different locations and took pictures of different products and services and posted them for the companies for free, and actually started posting their products. Well, every single business they went into, they made sure that they spoke to everybody in the business. So not only did they reach one person, but they reached 10 people, and 20 people, and 30 people, and so on and so on. A car dealership has 50 people working at any given time, and created this network of people interested to say, hey, what's that new site out there? What's going on? Then they took the photos and they posted the photos on Facebook and on our Twitter, our blog, and on our own homepage, and created the social media buzz online. And as you can see, started showing some spikes. And this was over a 2-week period. So this just validates that not only is social online, but social is offline. And it's that feet on the street approach to the smaller markets that is equally as important as the interaction online and the easy flow of information. So now our new approach is not necessarily that content is king and building up a database, but now that we've created this opportunity to communicate back and forth with our users, talk to them, ask them questions, now our number one focus is the consumer. And we're asking the question of our consumers, what do you want? How would you like the site improved? What type of products and services would you like to see that we could offer to make it easier for you?
Okay, and to that point, so now we've got the engagement, that's going really well, and of course there's more things. I mean, I learned some things from Social Bakers in the previous presentation as well. As we can always do it better, but it's starting to work. So now what we're doing is we're starting to ask them, what do you want? And that is feeding into new product development. So we're using it not only as a customer service, what's working, what's not working, but now we are co-creating new products with our customer base. And so in the last 30 days, we've released 2 new products, and they're already making money. So this is the real story that we wanted to share with you today, is now creating new revenue streams. So for example, last month, our unique users actually went down, but our revenue went up. And the result of that was because we've got new revenue streams coming on. So we're getting more money out of each unique user by offering new products. And so we wanted to show you a little bit about what we built and what's in the hopper.
So these are 3 new products one new product that we've launched about 3 weeks ago, and it's a daily deals. And so we're offering an option to buy and create that transaction right there on the site. We are creating a different Facebook page to allow them or a Facebook game to actually create an interaction so they can go on there and they can start playing around with a Facebook game. It's like The Price is Right. So it's getting some user interaction. And then we're also creating a profiles page so the customers can actually go on, log in, and create their own profile. We launched that about 6 weeks ago, and we've had over 15,000 registered users already, simply by posting it in the corner of the site and offering them an opportunity to register.
Should we jump off at this point? So this is an example of moving from the great big database. So this is now, we're calling it, this is a working title of our user dashboard. And this is the result of some customer feedback. There's some things going on here that they've asked us for. our user base asked us, where you see gaming and whatnot with the merit badges, they said, we want you to tell us about ourselves. You're watching us all the time, and we want you to give us badges based on certain behaviors. So we want you to participate more, not just us rating each other, but you rating each other. So we have these merit badges coming in. The other is we want to be able to bring in from all of these different social media platforms, Facebook or Twitter, whatever, we want to bring this all into a place. We want you to create a custom spot on your website for us. And it's almost like we said, you want us to redo Facebook? No, but there's some elements of that we'd like you to build in. Here, the activity stream, they said right now when we buy something, we either have to call that seller or we have to email them, and that happens away from your website. We want that conversation to come into the website. We want to have an activity wall so that we have a history of what that communication was, and we want you to participate in that. These were all really shocking things for us. We thought, oh, what? Okay. So the point of that is that we're using social media now to work with them to create new experiences. So we're focused on, and you probably hear some of this in some of the literature and whatnot, creating user experiences and more interaction, that type of thing, creating a different kind of environment. And so some of this is private between one user and another, and some of this will be open to the public as well. So this is brand new ground. And this is what we feel is where social and commerce is interacting to become social commerce. So we're experimenting in this area. We're going to do a lot of stupid things, but we're releasing new products, and then we know that we may not hit it right the first time it gets released. But our users are now working with us to fine-tune what that's going to be. And so, and it's working. As I say, 30 days out, we released some of this stuff, and they're paying us for it. So we think that's pretty neat. And that's not banner ads, that's not upgraded ads, it's totally new stuff.
And obviously the first model, this is going to be a free version where anybody can sign up, build it up to a certain level, and then obviously I'm going to come running in and say, well, let's charge them for it. So level number 1 is a basic introduction, giving them some basic products and services they can use. Level number 2 will be multi-higher level functions, which will have a fee base. And then obviously, again, it's moving the financial transaction for us as a company from relying strictly on banner ads to a whole new subscription level.
Mm-hmm. How are we doing on time? Do we have? We have some more time. So this is the jumping off point. This is the user dashboard, and then if you scroll to some of the products, this is one that Jody actually designed in the spirit of innovation in our first presenter. We have a culture where if you can think it, we'll do it. And so this was actually something that Jody invented, and we built it and released it a month ago. And Jody, maybe you can talk a little bit about why this is different and what we were trying to do.
So what we created is it looks like a fairly standard deal site, except we actually don't have an email subscription base. We launched our first deal. We've changed the model, so for an advertiser, they don't actually, there's not a revenue per deal model to us as the publisher. We charge them a flat fee and then limit the number of deals available. So this particular deal ran, 100 deals were offered, and we turned it on at 9 a.m. And it was an interesting social media test because we actually had a bit of a glitch.
It exploded.
Yes, as soon as we flicked the switch, the deal blew up.
Meaning the technology blew up.
Yeah.
It wasn't working properly.
Yeah, so we had this marketed through Facebook, through Twitter, through the blog, and on our own site, say come to our site Monday morning. So what this is doing is instead of creating an email transaction or an email spam situation, people actually have to come to our site to see the deal. So what that does is creates more impressions. Because it's on a time release, it releases at 9 a.m., there's an influx of people coming to the site where it was previously a fairly slow time. So creating extra impressions, which obviously we monetize through display ads. The deal we had here was 100 Thrifty Foods, which is the #1 grocery store in our market, and they sold 100 gift cards in 47 minutes.
We didn't send out one email. Not one email was sent out to make this happen. So,
and so since then, we've had basically a deal every day of the week, Monday to Friday. But what I was mentioning before is when we first flicked the switch, people could click on the buy button, but it wasn't going to the right page. So we had to shut it down, rechange the technology. But we were bombarded through our Twitter, through our blog, and through Facebook.
All the channels went on fire.
And we had, within 5 minutes, we had over 47 people on our Facebook page saying, it's not working, I'm trying to buy it, it's not working. So what we did is we were communicating back and forth for about 2 hours or 2.5 hours with these people, and from a customer service standpoint, we actually brought all of these gift cards into our office and created and asked people to come to our office to actually pick up their gift card. So once they came in, then we gave them a Use Victoria bag, a bumper sticker, free upgraded ads, pens. We loaded them with swag. But then all the people that never got a card, we actually bought extra cards, so everyone got a card that was interested in getting one. So then we created this goodwill throughout the community because people started tweeting about it and saying, wow, this is what happened, Use Victoria was great, all this kind of stuff. So from people coming into the actual office, to meet them, to talk to them, to ask them questions, create this on-the-foot social, and then as well online.
So we turned a bad situation into a good one. The other thing that happened was this guy that runs this grocery store, people were in his office asking about the deal, and he was calling Jody saying, I've got all these people in my office looking for this deal, what's going on? And Jody was saying, oh, we're trying something new, we've got this really disruptive thing, and it's exploding. I said, Jody, people love it, they want it. And sure enough, that owner of this grocery store was really happy that there was such a great response. So again, we're learning and we're tweaking it, but it seems to be working. So, and our customer base, again, we used our social media channels to manage the situation, and it's turned out really well.
This is an example of the Facebook game. So what we've done is we've actually pulled in ads from our site. So every one of these, and they're geo-targeted. So if you're in Victoria, you actually get an ad off Use Victoria, and people look at it, and what you do is you actually guess the price. Click on the guess button, and we have a bunch of cheeky comments that come up, not even the top 10, but close. There's a different comment every time you make your guess, and then what happens is you have the opportunity to click on the ad itself and actually go directly to the site, interact with the site, and check out the product or service. But what this is doing is shows the list of the recent players, which is creating that social interaction, creating the competition. It gives you a rank in amongst the people that are playing. And it's been up for about 2 weeks now, and it's growing in popularity every day.
We built it in 2 days. We built the game in 2 days and launched it.
How many, can you give us a stat, how many take part?
Sorry?
How many
are doing it? I don't know, I have to look, but more than we thought.
And
the idea here is much like with the idea was Farmville's making so much money, maybe we should build a game and try it. So we built it, we tried it, and if it takes off, then maybe we'll monetize it. We may use Facebook credits, some things like that, but it's all about the user. We're just building things in this totally new realm.
You do have to like Used Everywhere to be part of it. So anybody that's playing it, if they share it with their friends, they'd have to like Used Everywhere, and then they can start playing it. And then obviously they can like it here as well.
So this is my pet project, which is to look at the data itself. And somebody mentioned this earlier in one of the other presentations. I think it might have been the fellow talking about Yahoo. We've got all this data that we're sitting on, all of us. And there are companies that make money with SaaS applications from eBay repackaging the data, the sales data. With classifieds, in our case, we don't know what the actual transaction money was and whatnot, but we know a lot of other things. We know, when more ads are being posted, we know certain user behavior and whatnot, and so the idea behind this is to look and see if there's a market for repackaging the data. So this is the idea, you can sign up on a subscription basis to get access to the data and drill down on the general data, but then you could also map your own ads, the performance of your own ads to the overall performance to get more value. So these are ideas about different revenue streams, subscription-based, again, that are outside of the advertising realm, just to give you some ideas on some of the areas that we're looking at.
You know, I mean, the price is right, and you become socially engaged, you get people involved. It's a little more than just come here, look, find what you want, and buy it, and we don't know who you are, we don't really care. Now you're suddenly participating as opposed to using. And that's what ultimately people want to do. That's what it's all about. Here comes the most important part, what you should be doing. Now, I'm going to take a quiz at the very end. Anybody who raises their hand and says, we're doing 100% of that, I'm sure Felix will. But anybody who can say, we're doing 100% of that, I'll be very impressed. If you're not, and I would hope that many of you are doing 80, 90, 95% of this. How many of you are doing a game with your prices, by the way? Used everywhere, yes. Who else? Anybody else? Okay, at least one or two others. So many things you can be doing. Here's what I would say you should be doing, and obviously many of these are fairly basic, but they're all important. Number one, get in the game. You got to be involved in Twitter. You got to be involved in Facebook. If you're a professionally oriented site, you got to be involved in LinkedIn. And now, here's another one, Google+. Number two, participate personally in social media. If you're not doing this, you don't understand it. Even if you are doing it, you may or may not understand it. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I don't use Twitter that much anymore. If you look at my Twitter feed, you'll see, because I didn't find that it was bringing us results. I don't use Facebook as a business tool. I use it personally. But you've got to participate somehow. I just finally, meaning 3 weeks late, right, or 5 weeks late, finally got involved in Google+, and I'll see how that goes for us. Remember, all of this is about participation, engagement, distribution. The game. How does that do? It distributes ads. It distributes your value. And by the way, it's all about results. Craft at least one strategy for each vertical. Now, if you're just a real estate site, you still have verticals. You have apartments or flats. You have condos. You have new home sellers or new home buyers. You have people who are buying existing homes. They overlap, but they're different channels. Craft one strategy for each, and then execute it on it. And once you execute on it, by the way, what do? You go to the next one, and you keep executing. Like Tish, some things just won't work. That's okay. Time and effort, but at least you're not spending a lot of cash. It's a very good thing in this economy. Make sure your users can redistribute your ads readily. If they don't have a button on there that says like, if they don't have a button on there that says send to friend, email to friend, Twitter it, tweet it, you're missing out on an opportunity. And these are relatively easy. They are relatively inexpensive to implement. And if you're not doing all of these, you should be. Identify your market segments, distribute accordingly. The people who are interested in boats, for example, aren't necessarily interested in horses. You can be sure Rob Patterson is not sending horse ads or plane ads to the people who are on his marine sites. Market according to who wants what, and market according to people, how they're engaged with you. Here's one, I got to tell you, I don't find very many people doing this. If you're not engaging with your advertisers through social media in a separate channel, because their interests are very different from you, and I'm talking about your commercial advertisers, you can also have another channel to engage with your private party or your individual users who are advertisers. I couldn't post my ad. How do I fix that? Commercial advertisers may have questions for you. about what's your reach, what's your distribution, what's your traffic, etc. Engage with them in social media. I would have shown you a slide from the San Diego Union Tribune. They have a whole separate channel for social media, a blog with their advertisers, their commercial advertisers. It's very effective. How many of your advertisers have Twitter feeds, have Facebook pages, link out, and so forth? If your sales reps are not following their advertisers, oh my gosh, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And if you're not following them, how do you know what they're promoting? How do you know where they're getting their engagement? How do you know where they're getting people involved? Follow your advertisers on their social media, whether they be Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, other sites. You learn a lot. You learn a ton from what they're doing, what they're promoting, what they're saying. And by the way, they like having you as a like, or they like having you as a Twitter follower, and they will probably follow you as well. Be your advertiser's social media agency. I would guess that 85% of your advertisers, 90%, 80%, depends on the advertisers. I'm talking commercial advertisers. They don't know what the heck they should be doing in social media. They know they should be doing something with Facebook. They know they should be on Facebook or Twitter, but they don't have the time, they don't have the inclination. You can manage their social presence for them, and by the way, that's a high-margin business. And if you don't want to do it yourself, you can outsource it. Likewise, provide them with tools for reputation management. So they have a dashboard, and they can see what's being said about them in real time without having to set up Google alerts and Yahoo alerts and all these other things. They have a dashboard. By the way, outsourcing is easy. One company I know of, Mars Communications in the United States, sells reputation management for $99 to $150 a month. They buy it from a third party at $10 a month. Think about that. If you're selling it for $99 and $149 and you're buying it for $10, nice margin.